Welcome to the Bible Forum. I'm Warren Sprouse. It's June 7th, 2019, and I want to tell you about the Democrats' Jules Verne play. I ran across an article that reads something like out of the Jules Verne category or some bizarre science fiction book. But we're watching and listening to all this happening right under our noses. The catalyst here is Democrat presidential candidates who are bent on changing America. The opportunity, it is being negatively transformed by a full-scale, never-ending invasion across its southern border. Something the Democrat candidates seem to love, something they seem to want to enable and to encourage. For example, their Green New Deal would cost untold trillions of taxpayer dollars, while at the same time destroying America's fossil fuel industries, thereby putting millions out of work. They celebrate full-term abortion, we call it infanticide, and cheer the epidemic of delusional men invading women's locker rooms and showers and dominating the world of women's sports. One Democrat candidate, Julian Castro, announced from the debate stage that he even wants taxpayer-funded abortions for men who get pregnant. And he said that with a straight face. Add to this insanity the never-ending calls to impeach President Donald Trump. On what grounds? Well, that the President of the United States is secretly a traitorous Russian double agent. Of course, the fake news media gleefully cooperates with this. What some are suggesting is that all this serves as camouflage, the perfect smokescreen for concealing another and even more daunting attempt at a coup d'etat, one taking place largely out of view. Which is what? Big tech. This overwhelmingly far leftist progressive in worldview and therefore by definition totalitarian entity is attempting to transform the world in its image. And therein lies the answer to the question of how a wildly unhinged political party like the Democrats of 2019 could actually retake the White House and Congress, and therefore the courts in 2020. We are asked to imagine that some unseen yet immensely powerful entity existed, one capable of influencing the minds of hundreds of millions of people, shaping the perceptions in such a profound way as to steer them toward voting for a certain party or candidate. Suppose farther that this influence was virtually undetectable. In fact, that the entity was one we had come to admire, consulting it on a daily basis, tapping freely into its vast, almost godlike reservoir of universal knowledge and understanding. Suppose further that, though imperceptible to us, this great and all-knowing something had a secret plan for our lives and our society, an overriding will to guide and shape us and our world in its benevolent image. This, in essence, is what America, indeed the whole world, is dealing with in the age of big tech. The June issue of Whistleblower magazine points to hard evidence, including multiple peer-reviewed studies, that Google is already determining the results of elections around the world. It contends Google researcher Robert Epstein, former editor-in-chief of Psychology Today, a Democrat who voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, that Google likely swung as many as 3 million votes toward Hillary in the 2016 presidential contest. It just turned out not to be enough. Epstein later said, "I'm guessing that these companies held back in 2016 because they were overconfident." Epstein had gone on to predict, based on his half-decade of peer-reviewed research, that big tech could swing 15 million votes toward the Democrat presidential election without leaving any paper trail and without those so influenced realizing it. You doubt any of this? Take note in a widely read article in Wired magazine, headline, "Is Big Tech Merging with Big Brother?" Journalist David Samuels led with a chilling antidote. He said, "A friend of mine who runs a large television production company in the car-mad city of Los Angeles recently noticed that his intern, an aspiring filmmaker from the People's Republic of China, was walking to work. When he offered to arrange a swifter mode of transportation, she declined. When he asked why, she explained that she needed the steps on her Fitbit to sign in to her social media accounts. If she fell below the right number of steps, it would lower her health and fitness rating, which is part of her social rating, which is monitored by her government. A low social rating could prevent her from working or traveling abroad." Now keep in mind, this woman is not in China. She's in California. China's social rating system, which was announced by the ruling Communist Party in 2014, will soon be a fact of life for many, many more Chinese. By 2020, if the party's plan holds, every footstep, every keystroke, every like, every dislike, every social media contract and posting tracked by the state will affect one's social rating. Samuels goes on to explain what all this portends. He says personal creditworthiness or trustworthiness points will be used to reward and or punish individuals and companies by granting or denying them access to public services like healthcare, travel, and employment. Individuals who score high enough will find themselves in a green channel where they can more easily access social opportunities, whereas those who fall short or engage in activities disapproved of by the state will be unable to move a step. Sounds scary? Sure it does, but that's China, right? A soulless communist state. What do you expect? But what about America? In the West, writes Samuels, quote, the threat of government surveillance systems being integrated with the existing corporate surveillance capacities of big data companies like Facebook, Google, Microsoft, and Amazon into one gigantic all-seeing eye appears to trouble very few people. Then he spends the rest of his 5,000 plus word article documenting how America's elite class appears to, quote, accept the merger of the U.S. military and intelligence complex with big tech as a good thing, end of quote. Indeed, with the growing presence of big tech in Washington, D.C., from Google's huge corporate lobbying expenditures to Amazon CEO Jeff Bezos' purchase of Washington Post, to major high-tech contracts being awarded by the CIA, Pentagon, and other federal agencies, to companies like Amazon, Microsoft, and Google, the merger of big tech and big government appears to be happening. And then there's this. In a June report on Breitbart.com, technology writer Alam Bokhari reveals, based on an internal Facebook document obtained by the news website, that Facebook monitors users' offline behavior to determine whether or not the user should be labeled a hate agent. Titled Hate Agent Policy Review, the internal document outlines a series of signals that Facebook uses to determine if someone ought to be characterized as a hate agent and banned from the platform. He reveals that the signals include a wide range of on and off platform behavior. The article identifies some of them. For example, if you praise the wrong individual, interview them, or appear at events alongside them, Facebook may categorize you as a hate agent. Facebook may also categorize you as a hate agent if you self-identify with or advocate for a designated hateful ideology, if you associate with a designated hate entity. One of the examples cited by Facebook as a hate entity includes Islam critic Tommy Robinson, or if you have tattoos of hate symbols or hate slogans. Facebook will also categorize you as a hate agent for possession of hate paraphernalia, although the document provides no examples of what falls into that category. The document also says Facebook will categorize you as a hate agent for statements made in private but later made public. Some users Facebook has already placed on its list of potential hate agents include conservative British writer and YouTube personality Paul Joseph Watson, popular black conservative pundit Candace Owens, and conservative author and terrorism expert Bridget Gabriel. Disturbingly reminiscent of China's social credit system, Breitbart is saying that Facebook is monitoring hate speech both on and off its platform and categorizing all of that together. And here's how they are supposedly doing it. An individual has made public statements, or statements made in private and later made public, using tier 1, 2, or 3 hate speech or slurs. Instances of one statement or appearance is a signal. Instances in multiple statements or appearances over a month is another signal. If you've done this within the past 2 years, Facebook will consider it a hate signal. What this is suggesting is that big tech, overwhelmingly far leftist, progressive in worldview, and therefore by definition totalitarian, is attempting to transform the world in its image. Not a day goes by without new examples of this slow motion revolution being evident, with another conservative voice being banned, demonetized, or branded a hate agent. One more small piece of a cosmically large puzzle. Big tech, first and foremost Google, which accounts for 90% of all search inquiries worldwide, has become almost like a god to billions of people. But that God is attempting to reshape errant and wayward humanity in its image. Its most urgent task right now, defeat Trump in 2020. Big tech is still kicking itself for having failed in 2016. It doesn't intend to make the same mistake again.